Into the Light, Section 6, Chapter 21, Breaking the Ties to Humanity. The Word has come admonishing us to end the ties that we have to our ancestry and our lineage, even to the human race. Our DNA, our ancestors, our direct correlation to the human race, all have been a factor in shaping who and what we are in this present sojourn, but it can seem like a daunting request. How do you break this tie, this bond? In essence, we really can't, but He can. God is freeing His sons from that which is bound, that which is defined, and that which has limited them. He is reconnecting them into their true lineage. And say, what is that? The order of Melchizedek, who had neither a beginning nor an end. We'll read from Hebrews 7. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham as he was returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him, to whom also Abraham apportioned a 10th part of all the spoils, was first of all, by the translation of his name, King of Righteousness, and then also King of Salem, which is King of Peace. Without father, without mother, without genealogy, having neither a beginning of days nor an end of life, but made like the Son of God, he remains a priest perpetually. And Hebrews 6, where Jesus has entered as a forerunner for us, having become a high priest forever, according to the order of Melchizedek. This is our identity. This is our lineage. You are called to enter into the priesthood as Christ did, to become a son, having neither a beginning nor an end, perpetually a priest forever. That is who you are. The challenge we faced has been to stop identifying ourselves with the soul. The soul has defined us and has conditioned us to limitation. The breaking of bonds is not a simple singular act of decision. It involves an ongoing commitment to separate yourself from this world. The deeper issue at hand, however, is more than breaking your identification with yourself. It has to do with being delivered, literally, from this age. And not only do we see a breaking of our ties to ancestry, but of our ties to humanity. Our identity is not with the Adamic nature, but with Christ, the Spirit. The first Adam was soul, the second Adam, Christ, a life-giving spirit, and this is our identification. During this season of change, there is a deliverance happening, but it's not one that you can work up and achieve. It's something God is doing within you. Isaiah 43, Behold, I will do something new. Will you be aware? Something new is something within you that is new, not something externally. What is happening? A breaking of all the ties and the bonds and the cords that have bound you to humanity, to your ancestors. The path of the sons right now is moving aggressively into the changes involving sonship and the seal of our redemption, the change of the physical body. God is doing something new within you, and you must be aware. There are two aspects to this deep deliverance that's coursing through you right now. One is your personal ancestry or lineage, but the other is your bondage to humanity as we've known it. This is something that God is doing right now. It's not something that we can do. We've been diligent to break cords and ties, bonds with relationships, paradigms, and how we've seen ourselves. And this has only brought us to a point where the cobwebs have cleared enough that you're able to see, and in seeing, begin to change more rapidly. The sons of God are experiencing a re-identification of who and what they are. God is separating the sons from the last vestiges that have tied them to this present existence. It's important that we understand what is happening because Christ has paved a way for us as the firstborn of many sons that would come to birth. We're following a similar path right now. Imagine unplugging from one level of consciousness or reality or identification and plugging into something entirely different, the order of Melchizedek. We have neither had a beginning nor an end, and this can be challenging to wrap your head around. The experience or reality coming to the sons is to understand that they really have had no beginning, nor have you, and nor will you have an end. Now, what does this mean? An incredible empowering is coming to the sons as they realize what they are a part of. Yet Satan would war against the saints to make them feel frail, as though every day they are just walking on tiptoes, hoping to get to the next day. Satan cannot prevail against the saints, not one iota. The saints have so much more leverage and power and dominion, but they're still coming into their own. You were with the Father at the dawn of creation. It's a reference in the book of Job. We need to see that. We need to reach in and say, Lord, I see what you're doing. Even if I can't effectuate that change within me, yet I understand. We're reconnecting into a true reality of who we are. We are timeless. You're timeless. The sons of God are timeless. And yet we've yet to really understand the depth of that. But it's important. The one thing that we can do is to continue to break the ties with our ancestors. We can do that. We can voice it. We can commit it into the hands of the Lord. You will not be defined by your past or your ancestors or your siblings or anything else. There will come a point where all of the cords and ties are fully severed. And you will look at yourself in the mirror, and all that you will see is Christ and your lineage to Christ. You will not see your ancestors, their problems, their issues, or your siblings, or your mother, or your father. It will all be gone. We're talking about an experience that happens, and it cannot be worked up. And we've seen this coming for several years, but that's all I can say. We've seen this coming. There will come a time shortly when this begins to happen to you, and with that comes a deep inner awakening. In the battle that we carry, it can feel like a huge mantle just weighing down upon your shoulders. Yet there is another level that overlaps this, a reality that exists in the spirit realm, that what we have asked for has already been done within us. And this is the awakening that is happening within you. We take the deliverance and we acknowledge that something is happening within us that is a deep, deep disconnect, a disconnect from everything of the soul and this present sojourn. And God is doing this. And we acknowledge the hand of the Lord. We say, Lord, I see. You've spoken of this. We've endeavored to break our ties and our cords, to break the bonds with family and ancestry to the best that we can. But Lord, you're doing it. We know that you're bringing forth a great deliverance, for we're in the process of disconnecting from the soul and the reality that we have lived with. And you're plugging us into the Melchizedek priesthood, which is who and what we've always been. It can feel like everything is being cut off from you, but you're just disconnecting from one level of life into something new. You're unplugging us, Lord, from one level of life into a whole new life that we haven't even known. Hebrews 10, then he said, Behold, I have come to do your will. He takes away the first in order to establish the second. The Lord is faithfully taking away what you have had, that you might receive the promise of sonship and resurrection life.